It started as a normal night. I was home alone, binge-watching a new series on Netflix while the rain pattered softly against the windows. My cat, Whiskers, curled up on the couch next to me. Earlier that day, I had been busy with a series of mundane tasks. I cleaned the house, made a quick run to the grocery store, and then spent some time chatting with friends online. The evening felt like a quiet reprieve from a particularly hectic week. As I sank into the couch with a mug of hot cocoa and a blanket, I thought about how nice it was to have a little solitude. Everything was peaceful, until the doorbell rang. At first, I thought it might be a delivery or a mistake, but when I glanced at the clock, it was well past midnight. I hesitated before making my way to the door. Peering through the peephole, I saw nothing but darkness. No one was there. I figured it was a prank and went back to the couch. Minutes later, the doorbell rang again. This time, it was more insistent, almost urgent. I checked the peephole again, but still, no one was there. I was starting to feel uneasy, so I grabbed a flashlight and carefully opened the door. There was nothing on the porch, just the rain and the quiet night. I was about to close the door when I noticed something strange on the welcome mat, a small, handwritten note. My heart raced as I picked it up and read the scrawled words, "I see you." I quickly shut the door and locked it, trying to shake off the creeping dread. I decided to call the police, but before I could, the power went out. The house was plunged into darkness. I could hear Whiskers meowing nervously, and my flashlight cast eerie shadows on the walls as I searched for candles. Then I heard it, the unmistakable sound of footsteps coming from the hallway. My breath caught in my throat. I grabbed a baseball bat from the closet and crept toward the source of the noise. Each step I took was met with a matching step, as if someone was mirroring my movements. In the flickering candlelight, I saw a shadowy figure standing at the end of the hallway. I couldn't make out any details, but the shape seemed to be watching me. I tried to confront the intruder, but the figure vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. I stayed up all night, terrified to move or sleep. When morning finally came and the power was restored, I discovered the true horror. Every door and window in the house had been tampered with. It was as if someone had been trying to get in all night. And then, on the back of the note, there was a new message: "You can't hide." To this day, I still get chills whenever I hear the doorbell ring. It's been years, and the fear never fully left me. Whoever, or whatever, was outside that night, it never came back. But I know it's still out there, waiting for the next time I'm alone. I remember the excitement of moving into my new house on Maple Street. I just landed a new job in a small town, and finding a place so affordable and close to work felt like a stroke of luck. Sure, the house was old, with its peeling paint and creaky floorboards, but that was part of its charm, right? Or so I told myself. The first few nights went by without incident. I was too busy unpacking and settling in to think much about the place's quirks. It wasn't until the fourth night that things started to feel off. I had just settled into bed, exhausted from a long day of rearranging furniture, when I heard a faint scratching noise. It was barely audible, like the sound of someone tapping on a wall from the other side. At first, I brushed it off as the house settling. Old homes like this often make strange noises. But as the scratching continued, growing more insistent, I couldn't ignore it. By the early hours, the noise had become unbearable. It was as though something, or someone, was trying to claw its way out from within the walls. Driven by a mix of frustration and curiosity, I grabbed a flashlight and headed for the attic, where I suspected the sound might be coming from. The attic was accessed via a narrow staircase that groaned under my weight with every step. When I finally reached the top, I turned on the flashlight and scanned the room. The attic was a cluttered mess of old furniture draped in dusty sheets, and boxes stacked haphazardly. The scratching had stopped the moment I turned on the light, plunging the space into an eerie silence. My gaze was drawn to an old mirror propped against the far wall. It was covered in a thick layer of dust, making it look like it hadn't been touched in decades. I approached it, curious but uneasy, and wiped away some of the grime with the sleeve of my shirt. As I cleared the dust, I saw my reflection, but something else caught my eye. In the mirror's reflection, there was a shadowy figure standing in the corner of the attic behind me. It was faint and indistinct, but its presence sent a shiver down my spine. I spun around quickly, shining the flashlight into the corner, but there was nothing there. When I turned back to the mirror, the figure was gone. I inspected the attic thoroughly, convinced that I had seen a trick of the light or that my tired mind was playing tricks on me. Finding nothing, I decided it was best to get some sleep. That night, sleep was elusive. Every creak and groan of the house seemed amplified, and the scratching noise returned, more persistent than before. I lay in bed, wide awake, haunted by a sense of dread that I couldn't shake. The next morning, as I was unpacking in the attic, I found an old, leather-bound journal hidden in one of the boxes. Its pages were filled with scrawled handwriting, difficult to decipher. The entries spoke of fears and strange obsessions. One entry stood out: "The mirror watches. It knows everything. I can't escape it. It follows." Reading those words sent a chill down my spine. It was clear that the previous owner had been deeply troubled, fixated on the mirror. I decided to look into the house's history further and contacted a local historian. The historian revealed that the house had a dark past. The previous owner, Charles Albright, had been a recluse obsessed with mirrors and rumored to have performed bizarre rituals. Albright had disappeared mysteriously, leaving behind unsettling rumors and a house tainted by his legacy. That night, the scratching noise was relentless. It felt as though something was trying to break free, and the mirror seemed to take on a malevolent presence. Every time I glanced at it, it felt as though it was watching me, waiting. I couldn't shake the feeling that the house was alive, and it was trying to communicate something through the mirror. Feeling a deep sense of unease, I decided to leave the house immediately. The experiences and the historian's revelations made it clear that I wasn't safe. I packed up and moved out, leaving the house, and its sinister mirror, behind. Months have passed since I left, but I still can't escape the lingering unease. Occasionally, I catch strange reflections in my own mirrors, as if something from that house is still trying to reach me. The shadowy figure I saw in the attic's mirror has become a haunting presence in my mind, a reminder of the darkness that lurked within the walls of Maple Street.